Hello everyone, it's Peter from PS Sound, and this is the next update on this Merc build. Yeah, so this is the amp rack coming along now. It's on hinges, so you'll be able to tip up and then you can get to the second battery and the space underneath it. And the processor and the power distribution will be on the underside of the rack, and then the cables will run up through the holes. And the whole rack will be on struts, so they will hold it nicely when it's lifted up. It's very, very tight. You can see the line, that's where the amps are. They're going to be mounted with machine bolts into the threaded inserts as standard. And I only left like 3/4 of an inch gap between the amps, because that way they seem to look better than if they were, you know, right next to each other. But yeah, there's not much space. They're going to fill the whole rack, and on the back it's gonna be pretty tight as well, with the speaker and power cables running down. That's the kind of thing when I mentioned to the client that fitting 2 amps, the 6-channel and the 2-channel, which would have been enough, that could have been a way simpler job, and probably they could have gone sort of in that space underneath there, or definitely lower than this. Now the floor is going to be raised up a fair amount, also because the cables have to run down, and in the back they you know, you have to leave clearance for the cables when it's all shut down or put down. So there's an inch, so the cables can go down. On the sides, there are going to be 2 fans, one in each corner. One side sucking the air in, on the other side blowing the air out, so there will be a constant circulation. Because at the ends, the whole thing will be covered with the perspex, with nice laser-edged logo and whatnot, you know, all the fancy things. And on the top of that, just a trim panel, just a frame all around. There's not much you can do really, other than this to an amp rack like this, because you know, the focus point will be the amps. There will be enough to see just purely by that. So actually I can take the whole rack out, get it wired up on the bench, and when everything is done I can just lift it in and then bolt the hinges in. If you can see the hinges, because the lighting is not the best. Yeah, they are properly heavy duty hinges, bolted into threaded inserts at 3 points and 3 points into the rack as well, so 6 points holding the whole rack, plus the gas struts coming later. That should do the trick. So that's the plan with it, and then I just only have to build little side panels to keep the boot nice and flat, and it will be still functional enough for a couple of suitcases and other things, plus a beauty panel in front of the subs, which are going to be, well, I mean, the beauty panel is going to be, you know, a protection as well, because you don't want to chuck anything into the boot and then fly straight through the cone. That would be a bit expensive. So yeah, this is it for now. Let's see what happens after a day. Okay, so the structure of the amp rack is done. I've also made a nice and sturdy handle to lift the whole thing up, but this is going to be covered with the final top trim panel, so there will be just a cutout for the hand, you know, for your hands to reach in. The inside, as you see, is going to be covered with acrylic with black mirror finish. So yeah, you won't see much because the amps will cover most of it, but wherever you see anything, it will be, yeah, quite something. I can't wait to see it, to pull this off. But before I do that, obviously I have to glue these into place onto the surface, and then I have to router out all the cutouts for the cables that I showed earlier. So I have to cut those out flush, and then it will be nice and slick. On the sides you can see the holes for the fans. They will be placed outside of the rack, and then the top half-inch thick clear perspex is gonna come till the edge, covering the whole amp rack, and then I will have to place LEDs around that to edge light the laser logos. So yeah, pretty cool. Alrighty, so the rack was lined with the black perspex. I don't know how much you can see. You can see that reflection in between the amps. It's a bit of a shame that most of it is hidden, because 95% of the whole rack is covered with the amps. But it's gonna be a nice little touch, you know, wherever you see anything, it's nice and smooth, mirror finished in black. The cutouts for the cables are also, you know, nice and neat this way, as well as in the back. It's gonna be, yeah, quite tight to do the wiring, but yeah, it's just doable. So that's where the fans will push the air through, give enough circulation in the rack, and it weighs a bloody ton. Oh, you could work out with it. So yeah, now I'm gonna lift it out, put it on the bench, wire it up, and when everything is wired up, then it can be dropped back in, and then all the wires running from the front, from the speakers, power controller for the director, then all those can be wired in, and from that point of view it's fairly straightforward and easy, and then I can carry on with the final little beauty touches, panels, lights, etc. So yeah, stay tuned, because I think the next update will be when it's all finished, well, the amp rack, and it will certainly look way better. Cool, stay tuned, speak soon.